All right, so we're going to talk about SIM swap attacks because this has become a popular term lately, and I wanted to break it down and give you a better understanding of what this means. The regular person, once you see SIM swap, you're thinking of exchanging one SIM card for another, but this is not what a SIM swap attack is. What happens is that your phone number will be associated with a different SIM card than the one that's in your phone. Now, the attackers, they use social engineering to get your information, and then they use this information to get your phone provider to port your phone number to their SIM card. So if you have been a victim or once this take place with your device, it means that you're already a victim of social engineering and they already have good information from you, including your personally identifiable information like your phone number, email, probably bank information. So we're going to go through how this takes place and then what you can do to protect yourself from these kinds of attacks. When we explain what a SIM swap attack is, the first thing that might come to mind is, but how does this happen? You know, phishing is something that is very big. It's one of the main ways that information is obtained about victims, and this involves getting your victim to click on a link, and when they click on that link, then it gives access to the device, or depending on what the payload is or what you want that malware to do, that's enabled by them clicking on that link. So in the case of a SIM swap attack, they would engineer the malware to give access to certain information, account information, passwords, or it might even be some form of spyware now that will be making note of whatever is entered on your keyboard. So when this information is obtained, it doesn't have to be phishing. It can be other social engineering attacks. It can be a phone call asking you to press a button, press the number one, and once you hit that, then it will signify to the service provider that yes, you want your phone number to be redirected to a different SIM card. We now know what a SIM swap is. We know the dangers of it. We know the impact that it can have on us if we become a victim. So, how do we protect ourselves? Let's go through this. One of the main things that I'll tell you is make sure that you're aware of social engineering attacks. This includes phishing, vishing, smishing, all of these. Smishing is social engineering through regular text, SMS text, and phishing is through your emails, right? Vishing is also another social engineering attack where you get a phone call and someone tries to get information from you through the phone calls. Now, for phishing and smishing, you do not want to click on unsolicited links or links from unsolicited text. And even if the link looks legit, make sure that you visit the official website for whichever organization or whichever bank or wherever, whatever you're clicking on. Go to the official site. And once you do this, this will make it harder for threat actors to actually be successful when you're trying to get your information. Another thing that you can do is to use strong passwords. Now, a strong password is determined by its level of complexity, the level of characters and special characters that you might use. Um, so for password tips, you want to have a password with at least 14 characters, and that has complexities like uppercase symbols. You can use space, you can use period, any way you want to mix it up. And once you do that, then that adds another layer of protection, right? Next thing you want to do, you want to avoid using your password um, for multiple accounts. So for each account, you want to have a separate password for that. I know that it's annoying and it's difficult to remember all of these different passwords, but there are solutions out there that you can use to save your passwords, or you can save your password on a device um, and make sure that that device is secure and no one has access to it. Um, Another thing that you can do is to avoid using your phone as a method of authentication, which is your phone number as an authentication factor for your banking accounts. Now, I know that this is always or usually presented as an option, but if you can avoid using your phone number, then the smishing information will not be helpful or be less helpful for the attacker, because what happens is that the phone number can now be used by the attacker. Once he has your phone number directed to his SIM card, he can use the phone number to authenticate with your banking accounts and get all of the information and even access to your bank account to withdraw money or do you know all any number of evils um, there. So you want to avoid that. Another thing is it's important for you to know the institutions and what is usually done when they're trying to get information. Ask yourself this question: how does my bank um, usually contact me? How do they, you know, get information from me? What kind of information do they ask? What source do they use to connect with me to get these kinds of information? For example, IRS doesn't usually call you to get information or to ask you to pay money. They usually send notification by mail. If your bank contacts you, they'll never usually ask you for your passwords. So these are some examples of what you want to be mindful of. Another thing that you can use is make sure that you have multi-factor authentication, and this will give you some sort of alert as well if your account is being accessed from other locations and the devices that are trying to access them, and you will be able to deny this kind of access by having the factor that is needed to authenticate that you're indeed the user. So that attacker in Bali or wherever they're attacking from, they won't be able to get access because they need all of the factors in order to prove that they are a legitimate user. We just covered what a SIM swap attack is, the effects, what it can do, and how it can happen. We also went through some of the ways we can protect ourselves from these kinds of attacks. If you think that this content was helpful, just like, share, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And once I put more content out, you'll be the first to know. Thank you again for watching, and see you soon.